As I said, my name's CC, and you are.
I go by many names.
I see.
Yes. So right now I usually go by Mitch, but back in the day I went by Slaughter. I've also gone by Babisha. I've also gone by Macho Mitch. Most people, I think about the most common name I get is SL.
Okay, and that's because of S laughter or slaughter.
It was just people who didn't know how to pronounce my name, and then they just went, I'll just go SL.
There you go. Okay, so when did you first start getting into the Ratchet and Clank speedrunning scene? Like maybe not specifically when you first started running, but maybe like when you first started watching runs or interacting with the community.
I guess I would say it was actually probably around 2011. Not so much speedrunning, but I was just into like the webcam glitch videos, those kind of things, which I think is a great history to have before speedrunning, especially for like a very broken platformer game. And then like 2 years after that was when Sinux had his AGDQ run. And right after that, there was a lot more like activity. So that was really when there actually became kind of a scene, I would say. But I was still lurking in that for like 6 months until I finally got into it. So in summer of 2013.
Man, you were there from the beginning.
Yeah, kind of. It was a wee little 14-year-old.
Man, I keep thinking about it. I wish I was around. Like I was on the computer and stuff all the time back then, and I never even heard about speedruns until like 2015ish, and I feel bad.
Were you ever around when SDA was a thing?
Not when it was like actually active and stuff. I only found out about it after like it was pretty much dead.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's just a bit of a what do you call it? Kind of like an archaeological site at this point.
Yeah, no kidding. It's like it's yeah, that's the best way to put it. It's a ruins, you know. Sorry. It's abandoned, you know. I mean, like it's nobody really goes on there. I think if you go on it says who's active, and there's like 2 people who are like always signed in. But beyond that, there's like almost nobody that ever goes on that site anymore. So it's kind of a shame, but such is life.
Yeah. I'm glad there's still a fair amount of people on SRL.
Yeah, SRL kind of took over, which is all right. That's good. I like SRL enough. Okay, so you were around since so you said summer of 2013. So I guess you were kind of there to see most of the runners come and go.
Yeah, pretty much all of the old boys. I was at least lurking in their chats.
Okay. When did you actually start doing runs though?
So I was actually thinking about that. I'm not sure. So I was only really running Tools of Destruction for about like a year, I want to say, until I call him Devin. His screen name is Nuka. He ended up bugging me to like actually start running after like I had already found like a bunch of different tech for Rack 1. So I want to say that was summer of 2014 when I did like my first runs.
Okay. Yeah, I see here in August of 2014 is when you first took a record here with a
3155.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it was probably around May when he like finally got me to do a run.
Okay. You said you were doing strat finding before then. Like what kind of stuff were you finding?
So I'm not sure if this was my contribution. Because I just kind of told someone, he was just like, yeah, neat. Just very unenthusiastically, but the neutral long jump, that was my thing. So I was kind of in the joint effort to find the infinite jumps. And there were man. I'm really jogging my memory because this is going way back. There's not really any that stick with me other than those 2.
Okay. Just to remind me, neutral long jumps, is that like the thing where you gain more speed by doing
long jumps?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I will say Ticeman was the one to perfect them.
Okay. I think I remember seeing something like that on the SDA forums from Caveman.
So there is a lot of tech. Do you mean the lag jumps, the side flips?
Oh, you know what? I probably am thinking of the side flips, the lag jumps. I could have sworn, but no, that's probably what it is.
Makes sense. Yeah, there's just mountains upon mountains of ways to abuse momentum in this game.
It's so strange. Like, I don't know why, but I think like all the first 3 games are like that, aren't they?
It's particularly easy in the first game, but the second and third, there's a lot more ways to do it.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, you guys have a strat archive, which is like you have so many strats that you have to keep track of.
It is. It's definitely very daunting for people to like get into. That was. I will also say though that I was getting a lot more into like the glitch hunting for like 2 and 3, just because it was a lot more. There were a lot more different ways to abuse the momentum at that point, and that was like just so much fun for me to just like fuck around.
There you
go. I guess also, do you care about language?
No, I don't give a shit. Go for it.
Sweet.
Yeah. Thank you for asking, by the way. Just in case.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you were finding strats and stuff. Then you finally Nuka, Mr. Devin, you said was the one who bugged you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think. I was trying to reach out to Nuka.
I did ask him. Yeah, I did ask him if he had like stuff he'd want to say, and he was just like, yeah, I think I'd be good.
That's not like he'll pass.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
One less interview. Yeah, I think he kind of like moved on from the whole speedrunning scene.
That's fair. You know, some people do that. They have their fill and then they close that chapter and move on. So it's all good. I already have like 10 interviews slated, so that's
really wow.
Yeah. So I originally talked to Zem.
Am I here?
Are you here?
That seems promising. Okay.
Okay. Cool.
Sorry about that.
It's all good.
I don't know why. I don't know why that happened.
It's Discord. I mean, things just happen sometimes.
So where were we?
I was just saying that I originally talked to Zem, and he was like, "Oh man, I'm so excited! Like, you should talk to like this person, this person, this person, this person, this person, and this person." I'm like, "Okay." One of those was Ricky. Talk to Ricky. Ricky goes, "Oh, dude, I'm so excited. You should talk to this person, this person, this person, this person, and this person," and they were all different.
That sounds like both of them.
Yeah. Well, that was a couple of them, but in general, there's a lot of names. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll reach out to everybody.
Did either of them by chance suggest Tice Man?
Yes.
Okay.
I think he's slated for today.
Oh, really? Okay.
I need to
message him. Definitely have fun with that one. Tice is a great interview.
Hell yeah, dude! I'm excited. All right. Okay. We're talking about Nuka, so let's move on from that. What else was I going to say? So, let's see here. After you got a record or two, I see that Prince Vortex shows up.
Yeah, Vortex is my guy.
He's your guy. All right.
Yeah, he's a homie. So,
okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Vortex, did either of them suggest an interview? Probably not. I don't mean to sound rude like that, but
it's all good.
Yeah, Vortex has just a knack for things involving like hand coordination. He is like a top 10 nationally ranked yo-yoer. he was also a great baseball player and Mario Kart Wii Hall of Fame, and also had a fair amount of records for Rec 1. He's just kind of very good with his hands for things. And he's also a fucking homie.
Let's go. Yes, what's his name? Ricky did suggest Vortex. I reached out to him. He says he's down for an interview. He's actually at a yo-yo like competition this weekend.
Yeah, nationals this weekend.
Which is really
Worlds. I forget. I think he's in Worlds. Shit.
Let's go. Let's go, our boy Vortex. Let's go. Dude, I'm rooting for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see if we can get him in like on Sunday or Monday or something. So that'll work out. I definitely want to get him in.
Sweet. Yeah, Vortex. For a while, Nuka was like the only like person running and just trying to get other people to run. And Vortex was just kind of like the consistent person on Ustream because he couldn't use Twitch for some reason. So we were always going to Ustream for his streams, and for a long time, it was just me and Nuka shitting on him, being like, "Oh man, we're so much better than this guy." And just eventually he just kind of got good.
There you go. Yeah, I mean sometimes it happens that way where, what's the word? Gosh. Sucking is the first step of being not so good or whatever.
I'm actually in a room where there's a poster that says you get good at it by being constantly bad at it.
There you go. There you go. I'm blanking on the actual quote, but there's an Adventure Time quote where it's like sucking is the first step at being like not like kind of bad at it. So the idea is that you suck until you're good, and that's how that works. So, okay. So, gosh, Ustream. Gosh, that's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
Yeah. It's still like an inside joke between us.
All right. Okay. So, can you maybe tell me some of the important strat changes that were happening around the time that you started running? Or like when you and Nuka and Vortex were all kind of running together here in sort of late 2014, early 2015, like what was going down?
So kind of like the main thing was just how much it went, or like it turned into like a freestyling game. I was like rewatching some of like the old like high 48s or just like the high 40s runs from like Caveman and Infi, and just like seeing like how calculated like all of their like every jump and every long jump they had. And then it went into like our age where we were just kind of freestyling and just like having fun moving Ratchet around. So those changes would have been into like what do you call it? The ground pound cancels from the neutral double jumps, also neutral double jumps, also mid-air long jumps, and then what are those? I don't even remember. Did we call them lag cancels? I honestly don't remember. Neutral cancels. Those just led to building up speed ridiculous, and then also I almost forgot that, but the PDA use, all of like the infinite jumps and speedying and PDA gliding, stuff like that. It just made it so much fun just to move around in the game, and just separated it from like every other game I was playing.
I gotcha. So I'm still kind of new to this. So the neutral cancels, that's like when you do the long jump and then you do the PDA to like stop yourself and then do it again.
Neutral cancel is you actually probably wouldn't notice it if you haven't been playing the game for a bit, but you do a long jump, like the neutral long jump where you gain speed, and then a couple frames later you change the input to a side flip, and you side flip with all the same speed as the long jump, and you can keep building up speed like that, actually even faster than just long jumping.
Interesting. Okay. I'll have to look at it.
Yeah, so it really just gives you like a lot of freedom and like really makes you for a while, like it was all just like thinking on your feet. Now the game is like a lot more calculated. Again, even for like how hard it actually is to move precisely in the game.
I gotcha. I do like the idea that like literally everything had to be so calculated because it's like we have very limited, options to move, and then all of a sudden all these options come out, and then it's like, oh, everything's fast, so everyone can do whatever they want. Then
Yeah, I feel like I was kind of in like the skateboarder era, kind of, where it wasn't so much of a who can get there the fastest. It's more of like a who can get there the coolest, and it just so happens that the fastest way was also the coolest way.
just imagining like little Tony Hawk score on the bottom,
Only 500
kickflip 2000.
Yeah, kind of.
All right. Let's see here. See, and then eventually Raikaru shows up, and then Ricky shows up in 2016. So were you still you're still in the scene because I see that you had some records in 2016 as well.
Yeah, so I'm trying to remember the date. I actually think where did we leave off? Was that when Vortex had 2955? And then I think
we talked about into 2015, like the early 2015.
Yeah. By the way, on the record history, does it have IN getting a 3155?
No.
Okay. So that was one time.
Wait.
No, I see there's a Slaughter and Nuka with 3155, but there's no IN.
Okay. So yeah, that was one time when 3 people all had the same really unoptimized time, for the record. And I guess they didn't bother to include INs. IN is Insomniac Nintendo. I don't know if you'd have heard his name.
I did hear his name. I have reached out to him for an interview as well.
I don't know if he. I don't want to speak for him, but yeah.
He was like, oh, I don't know if I have anything to contribute. And I was like, listen, I mean, I'll have you on, and we can just chat about what you know and what you don't know. It's like it's all good. So
okay. Yeah, I think most of us are in it to like tell the stories, instead of like more of the what do you call it? The what did we contribute to Rec?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I guess there was that. I had my 2939 stand as my time for a while, and I never bothered to beat it, even when Vortex beat it by a minute. I guess I should also mention that
version differences were becoming like a big problem right around that era.
And Vortex's version was, I think, about 1.5 minutes faster than mine, and my version was about 2 minutes faster than Nuka's. So when Nuka had 3028, really that was like miles better than our other runs.
I see. Well, you said you're more interested in telling stories and stuff. Would you rather just go ahead and start talking about
that stuff?
Oh no, I'm fine with just getting the whole history of that. But let's see. You asked about Ricardo and Ricky?
Yes.
Okay. So, funny story about Ricardo. When I was in kindergarten, he was in 5th grade at the same school.
There you go. It was fate.
Yeah, really small world. So, for actually, when I was like watching him stream, he was actually in my neighborhood, and I never knew that until he moved away.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah,
could have been boys.
Yeah, we could have been.
Well.
So yeah, Ricky was definitely has the much more like lasting legacy. He kind of has a bit of a thing for just wanting to get good at games really quickly, and like he had never really tried speedrunning the game until somebody tried to get him to do infinite long jumps, which I should also mention that was like the biggest fucking thing that like deterred people from running for a while. I'm sure you've seen them before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Ricky was being taught at AGDQ 2016 how to do them, and within like a couple minutes he was doing better than anybody but Nuka, which Nuka was just like miles above everybody else at infinite long jumps. And then it was like in a month, Ricky was like in contention for record, and then there was a pretty decent beef between Ricky and Vortex, where just every time they finished a run, they were just like, "Lol, you suck," at each other. And there still kind of is one between Vortex and Rikaru. Mostly Vortex at Rikaru. And then I'm sure you can see that at some point Ricky just kind of took off.
Yeah, I can definitely see that Ricky took off. Was it mostly like a kind of like a friendly rivalry, or was it more like an
actual?
There were a couple times when they got like kind of heated.
He's back.
I am so sorry.
It's all good.
I don't know what's up with my connection.
Is it is the app closing, or is it going to sleep or anything?
No, I'm just kind of like getting just like trying to reconnect.
Interesting.
So the last thing I remember you asking was what their beef was like.
Yeah, you said things were starting to get kind of heated every once in a while.
Yeah, just once in a while. Particularly one time. I think it was both when they were like within 2 seconds of each other, and they just kept calling each other trash. But like legit. And trying to be like, dude, you actually don't know how to play this game.
Yeah, it sounds like gamer beef.
Mm-hmm. And then just like another thing with right as Ricky was getting good was so like right around
the whole them beef, when they were like both trying to be like, I'm so much better than you, Nuka was just like out of nowhere just like, yo, reminder, Slaughter's like miles better than both of you. And then that just kind of like filled my ego. And then I was just like, yeah, hold on. And then I think like that night I just went and got a record where I just like stopped to chat mid-run. And then like that night, I guess that kind of like crushed Ricky, and he just kind of like called me and was just like, "Oh no, I don't mean to like."
Okay, third time's the charm.
Oh boy. Okay. So where did I disconnect this time?
You said Ricky called you, and I don't know what you were about to say.
Yeah. So after I got that, Ricky called me, and he was
very dejected because like he was trying to do movement like I was doing it, and he was just like, "Oh, I don't think I'll ever be able to do this. I don't think my hands can move like this." And then like the day after that, like he got, I think, 26. He ended up getting the first 25, and then just like didn't lose the record for like months.
Yeah, it happens sometimes.
Yeah, I just thought that was like a funny interaction. how he went from like one evening just like ready to quit the game, and just the very next day just like became like unstoppable.
Yeah, sometimes you need the motivation. I mean, what's the idea? Like failure is like it's a great motivator. You fail one time and you're like, I never want to fail ever again. And then like you see someone like just destroy you, and you're like, I have to get better. And then he knew that there was a way to get better, and he trained, and he just did it. So that's cool though. Yeah, but I do see it goes for like Ricky Slaughter, then Ricky forever until Scaff and them.
Yeah. Zem was on a bit of a I want to beat every rack record. I don't care if I hold it. So he just if you watch his run, he just kind of pulled that run like out of his ass. And he was just like, that's a 1 second record. I'm done.
I do remember oh gosh. I remember was it I remember watching the run. I know he like popped off super hard and he's like, I have all the records or whatever.
Yeah, that was the last record that he never had of the original Rack trilogy.
Gotcha. I think he said he had 10 unique world records in the Ratchet series, and then he had the record in all the games. Or the original trilogy, I should say.
So
sorry. What was I going to say? I was just about to say something. I remember watching the year 2017 in review. That's what I was thinking of. And they sort of touched on that.
Yeah, that's a great video.
It is a great video. I actually talked to one tabloid, and I'm going to get him in for an interview as well.
Oh, yeah, he'll be another great person to get for this.
I hope.
Very involved and just a great speaker.
I can tell from his video. Okay. Let's see here. So, I guess tell me about SCAF. If there's anything to say.
Yeah, SCAF was...
I personally believe was the last person to take the game to another level. Mostly from like when I was like just one day, when he like pulled out his like Battaglia IL, which is kind of how they're doing the Battaglia now, but he just like pulled out a Battaglia IL strat, and I was just like, I had never like felt that way watching the game until ever since I had watched Ticeman. Where I was just like, wow, I don't think I could like ever be this good. And that was also kind of when I was starting to fizzle out of speedrunning a bit. So who knows, maybe I could have gone on the bot project again. But yeah.
Okay. Man, I'm trying to think. What would
it be like
to like to watch somebody and be like, wow, like as if, because you said Ticeman, because that's like that would be whenever you first started speedrunning, right?
Right.
That
was
when I 3846 was like means so much to like so many people in the rat community, or at least like the OG, like the 3 OG runners like me, Nuka, and Zippy.
Mm-hmm.
Just because like when we were watching that, like compared to like when we were watching like the other 2 main 90% runners, and we were just like, this guy like actually knows how to play this game, and yeah, that's a very, I think I've overused that phrase so far, but I was like just actually like intimidated by how good he was.
I think every speed game usually has like those is it Keystone, or I guess I'm trying to think of the word
I want to use here.
But they have like these big milestone runs where it's like even though that's been beaten before, it's like, oh hey, they found a new strat, saved a minute, and so some other guy got the record. But it's like, nah man, you don't understand. Like Ticeman's 3846, like you don't understand. That 3846 was like, you know, top tier, next level.
It's more so, yeah. I mean, that was that, but it was more so much that he was like 7 minutes ahead of everybody else, and you can just never have that in any game these days because people just like figure stuff out way quicker. And, what was I gonna say? But also like the other like main milestone that like inspired us was Silence's 4158 in Up Your Arsenal, because the other fastest known time was a 101.
I was watching some of your other coverages with the Japanese people in the Kirby's Air Ride, and I think they were like 3 minutes ahead of the Americans. So we had the Japanese 20 minutes ahead of us in an hour-long game.
Holy shit. One more time. Can you tell me what the run was? It was up your arsenal. What was the time?
It was Silence's 41:58.
Okay, I'm gonna write that down. I'm gonna watch that when I get a chance. Yeah, I can only imagine what it's like. You know, like, oh man, we're doing so good, and then like literally someone shows up. It's like, we've been hoarding different strats, or we've been working on it on our side. Like you guys didn't even know, and oh gosh.
Yeah, so I would say like the three runs that have like really just like actually made me intimidated by skill was that Silence's run, Ticeman's 38:46, and then when Scaff was starting to get good. I don't know what he ended up with. I think like a 22:28. It might actually
21:27.
Yeah. So I kind of pulled numbers out of my ass.
He said 22:48. That was one of his times.
Yeah. I think that was like when I finally realized, like, wow, this guy's just on another level.
What, if you could describe it to me, what in particular was it? Was it specifically like the way he moved? Was it the strats that he used? Like what?
So it was kind of like what I said with how back in like Caveman and Infy's day, how it seemed like every movement was calculated and they actually focused on like each jump and not just getting from point A to point B. And then like when I had like my skateboarder era where we were just focusing on moving cool. And then I think it was like back. And then Scaff was kind of Scaff and Ricky started with Ricky. Scaff kind of finalized it where it went back to the we're actually going to have every movement be calculated and actually get there in the fastest way.
Okay, so he just optimized it like beyond
what anyone else was doing.
Yeah. I do kind of think more that like at heart I'm more of like the freestyler and like the glitch hunter than like the traditional speedrunner.
Mm-hmm.
So I was always just like sorry.
All good.
All good.
Oh, what was I at? I just got a message. Sorry.
It's all good. You said you're more of a freestyler at heart, I think.
Yeah. So I was always just really impressed when just in runs I could just come up on the fly with like a new way to get places. And yeah, eventually I realized that just kind of can't compete.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a certain point when it's like you're going to start losing time to doing things that aren't specifically optimal, because that's what optimal is. Optimal is like, yeah, you're cutting away everything you don't need.
Mm-hmm. So.
Okay, and now Scaff.
Yeah. I would say both Scaff and Ricky.
Okay. I imagine that Ricky was still running in the background while Scaff had the record, because Scaff has the record like all of 2017.
Ricky, I actually forget. He went on to a different game after he got 23:43.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then he came back, and I think he got the record on New Year's Day.
Yes, he did. He tied it. Oh, then he beat it. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and then he didn't give that up for a while until Franz beat him.
Yeah, he had it until 2018. Right. Franz beat him in late 2018, and I guess he came back and updated his record, I think. Not record, but his time. I have to double check.
Yeah. Once you get into like the 2018 era was kind of when I started to like fizzle out a bit. Just like in general from the whole scene.
Okay. Just you just kind of got a little, tired of it, or
no, not so much tired of it. I still I still like hang out with all the boys, and I still we still have New Year's Day all gold bolts races. not always on New Year's Day, but it's meant to be around New Year's.
Okay.
It's just more I moved on to different things.
That's fair. I've definitely kind of done the same with my speed games. Is that like in general, a lot of times I don't really run some of the games that I play, but I'm always active in the community, always seeing new runners and chatting with people and hanging out with the older runners.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah, man.
Always great when you can keep friends, not just because you share hobbies.
Yeah, there's a lot of good people on the internet. You know, you meet them through their hobbies, and you hang out with them.
100%.
Hell yeah. Okay. So that kind of runs through the whole history. I guess we can cover more on Franz. He just kind of, I saw that, I think I saw him in a chat in one of the records. I forgot which record it was. It might have been Ricky's 1934.
Wouldn't be surprised.
I remember specifically seeing like, he had like the little chat box in the bottom on the stream. And I remember seeing Franz like, yo, GG's, dude, this is so sick, or something. And I was like, oh, I see him.
Yeah, I think Franz was second place at the time.
I could probably find that out, but yeah.
Yeah, Ricky has said that he and Franz are just like the two who are like the only two who could take the record at this point.
Why is that?
Well, at least he was saying that at the time, like when I was more involved. I don't know if they're currently, but I know that like third place, like wasn't even doing cineflips. If you know that strat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which also that cineflips are free. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. But Ricky was just kind of knew that they were the only two who were doing what was optimal enough and knew what was optimal enough to be able to like pull it all off and run and actually compete, like contend for the record.
Okay, I gotcha. So it's more like people aren't inherently trying to be the most optimal. It's just those two.
Or at least that was Ricky's perspective.
Gotcha. Okay. Makes sense. Okay. Are there any sort of stories or things that you want to talk about before we wrap it up here?
Oh, I had some better ones, but most of them are probably more just lended to a kind of like a, what do you call it, like more of like a documentary to my friends instead of like a rack history.
Oh,
I got you.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, so then I guess we can kind of recap here. Let's see here. You started around Ticeman, around that era. You were there in like 2013. And you watched Ticeman.
Yep.
Then you were sort of there. You watched Nuka a lot. Can you tell me more about Cypress, by the way? Sippy?
Oh, yeah, Sippy. So,
Sippy just kind of like was the guy like for Any Percent back when like Any Percent was the actual main category, and by main category I mean there were two people running it. Where Sippy like was like the one who was like watching Ticeman while he was doing Any Percent, and not so much watching Ticeman, just like watching how he actually moved. And then he just really quickly took that to Any Percent. He went from like, he did like 3 runs and took the record by like 4 minutes in Any Percent.
Goodness.
And then he was like, well, this is a garbage category. I'm going to move on to New Game Plus. Yeah. Sippy also kind of has like a knack for just coming out of nowhere and just like surprising people with records.
Okay.
There are a lot of times where it was just like the first day that he started streaming, he was just like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I think this run can be world record." just because he'd been like secretly in the lab for like the past couple weeks. And there was also one time where we did a race relay, and he just busted out like the 2 nuttiest strats in the run.
Do you remember what they were?
It wasn't New Game Plus, but if you watch the Algo Bolts, the Blarg, the Blarg checkpoint skip and the Pokataru dive bomb.
Okay, so he was kind of had a knack for like labbing out some like 6 strats and then just busting them out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good to have those kind of people around. Okay. Then continuing on, Nuka was playing, and then you guys were watching him, and then he kind of pestered you into playing, and then
Yeah, just because there was a bit where, I guess I should also comment on. There was like a brief like week where Tice just kind of noticed that people were getting close to 3846, and then he was just like, "Yo, none of these people have like told me that they were running or anything." And they're trying to bot my record, and then he came back and like I just gave him the god treatment, and I think the other people kind of did too. And then eventually Sippy ended up beating it, and I was just like, holy shit, my god is no longer.
he's been dethroned.
Do you say gods are throned?
That's a good question.
I'll say my king has been dethroned.
There you go. The god has been slain.
I'd say that Tice kind of fills the king role.
It's probably more accurate.
Yeah. But then you probably noticed there was a little bit where Nuka and Sippy were trading back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And Nuka really liked that competition, and he just kind of kept bugging everybody to just be like, "Yo, just try to take my record, please."
I can tell you, as someone who's played some games that have 0 competition, having competition is so much more interesting. It makes things so much more fun. So,
I was doing the same thing for Tools of Destruction, because I went. It was actually the thing that like kind of made me cave to like actually get accounts and start like telling people my strats, because I had like a 150 just like chilling on YouTube, and then I saw somebody streaming it on Twitch, and he got a 240, and he was just like, "Yo, well, I guess that's world record." And he was the only other person running when I was running.
I do love the idea of like, "Yo, dude, I got 2 hours and 40 minutes. I guess I have the world record." It's like, no, dude, you didn't even do any research.
Yeah.
Look it up.
And then that was the same thing that happened with another Ratchet game, Size Matters, where there was just a guy who was trying to beat the game for like a week. And once he finally beat it, he just shouts, "That's world record!"
Popping off.
Oh, it was fucking hilarious.
Okay.
Anything else? I think that kind of like sums up my whole legacy on like the records.
Okay.
But yeah, there were just kind of like those eras of like the antique era with like the caveman Infi and Clocidus, and then there was like the Tice Man King era, and then I guess there was like the brief Nuka Sippy era, and then I guess like the freestyle era, where I think it was also kind of Vortex and Nuka's thing that like we didn't actually like playing the game. We didn't actually like playing the game through. We just liked playing the game.
Yeah.
And then it was like a brief.
Oh, cut out.
Sorry, still here.
You're here. Okay.
And then I guess then it was like another very brief
me and Ricky, or not so much just me and Ricky. It was more. We knew that like we'd be one of the two to like come out on top, but there were other people still like coming back and forth with the records every now and then. And then just like the era of dominance from Ricky that come from that, and Franz just coming out on top now. So I guess this is Franz's era, but I haven't really been around to testify to that.
I gotcha. So you said the freestyle era is kind of around, end of 2014-ish. When do you think that started to get more optimized? Like, what was the turning point?
I guess the turning point was that Ricky actually knows how to be a speedrunner. Yeah, so he, and then there was one other guy, Maxis. I don't think he'd be around or available for interviews, but he was like the first guy to actually lab stuff out in emulators.
Okay.
It's actually really funny. If you know the Walloper Punch tech.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 2 years ago, that was like a joke that would probably be a thing, but nobody actually tested it.
Interesting.
Yeah. He was just like, we just kind of mentioned it to him, like to retell the joke, or at least like I think I said it, and Nuka was like, oh yeah, I remember when that was like a joke. And then Maxis just starts streaming like, yo guys, this works. We're just like, what?
Well, I'm glad somebody tested it.
Yeah,
it looks super fast.
So that's kind of like a testament to kind of how we were playing. We just kind of had so much fun moving Ratchet around that we didn't actually think about making like progress that would like make it not fun to play.
I gotcha.
And I didn't mean that as a shot at the current one, because I think that the current route is still like so cool. And Walloper Punches ended up not ruining stuff like I was kind of scared that it would.
Yeah, I only see it like 3 times. You know what I mean? I see it in Velden, right? And then you see it in Novalis. Then you see it in Kerwin. Do you see it anywhere else?
Gemlick?
Yeah, you do see it in Gemlick. Yeah.
Pretty sure that's it.
That's not so bad.
Yeah. And also, it was before I knew some of the mechanics of the game. I didn't know that there was a 4 pixel per frame speed cap. So I was thinking that it was just going to like literally launch you to the end of the level, and I was scared that I was scared that was like what was actually going on. But yeah. And if you've ever been confused for like why they move so much faster on Umbris, it's because they break the speed cap.
Interesting.
Yes, that thing is the most peculiar glitch I've seen in any game, where you fall in the mud to start, and what that does is it sets a timer at 10,000, and it counts down 1 every frame. And while you are in that state, anytime you're in the air, you can go through a wall, and you no longer have the speed cap.
How strange. The Ghost Ratchet thing, right?
Yeah. It's the strangest.
I wonder what they were thinking. Like, it's 10,000 frames at 60 FPS, right? So that's like several minutes, right?
I
go through walls, but not floors.
Yeah, but you have to be airborne, so I'm guessing there is collision detection, like, there's collision detection for when you're not in the air, but you can still, like, be hit by enemies and stuff. So it's the strange... And also, you can just actually, like, swing your wrench to go through walls, too. I've never, like, really understood it. I just know how to manipulate it.
Right. That is very strange.
Yeah, I have no idea how the game was actually made, or like any logic to how to make the game like that.
I gotcha. Were you around whenever Drek Skip was found?
That was like right after my time, and I actually think right in the recording, when Ricky found it, he just like ends up just like being like slaughter.
I'll have to watch it again.
There was kind of there was kind of a I just knew the game inside and out for a bit. Well, not like for a bit, but that was just kind of my reputation, that I was just not going to be surprised by anything anybody showed me.
Did it surprise you?
Oh yeah, a bit. We actually kind of knew it before, where if you trigger Drek normally, that you will still have the laser pointed up, but apparently if you don't trigger Drek normally, you can just get there, and then you can just beat the game.
There you go. Yeah, I think I forgot when it was. I know I saw somebody. Was it Zim? No, somebody had the cannon was already on screen and they didn't understand what was going on.
Yeah, I think it was actually during one of his All Go Bolts records.
That's probably what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, so he had to clutch it out and beat Drek in 30 seconds, which is not easy to do.
I'd imagine not. You can reset the timer, right? Normally?
No, yeah, normally you can, but you can't when the cannon's facing up.
Yeah, because it's covering the button or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else I want to ask you while I still have you here? So Ricky starts optimizing it, and then Scaff really takes it to the end zone. And this is when the run really kind of optimizes itself, because you start seeing PBs of like 5-10 seconds instead of like a minute.
Yeah. I guess also a lot of like the whole change in the era was that Nuka was the only one for like a year who could do infinite long. I think I got cut out.
Yeah.
But yeah, for like a year, Nuka was like the only one who could do infinite long jumps. And everybody was just like wasting so much time just like and like destroying their fingers. Because now it's a lot more down to a science for how to do them. But all we really knew was mash R1 and X and move the analog stick around.
Just start.
It works. Yeah, I was destroying my wrist.
Oh gosh. Well, I'm glad you figured it out.
Yeah. So that was kind of keeping me from running for a while. But then I just one day it just kind of clicked, and then I was just like, "Yo, everybody, I'm the GOAT."
There you go. The new Ratchet. Jesus.
Yeah, that was a very prideful moment when I finally figured out how to do it. Because honestly, like if I ever boot up the game anymore, I just go to Umbrus and I just fly around.
It seems like a fun thing to do. I mean, you go like super fast. You just start like blazing around the corners.
Yeah. Would highly recommend if you want to learn the game, getting Ghost Ratchet and just trying to get the longest infinite long jump you can. Because you never really get to see the full extent of your speed because you just immediately go out of bounds in the run. But if you like actually glide around, you can like cover the entire map in a second.
Goodness. I've definitely thought about like actually buying a PS3 and Ratchet to play it, because I've never actually owned a PlayStation before.
Really?
Yeah. It's I don't know why. It's just that whole thing missed me. I had cousins and friends and stuff like that who had PlayStation, so I played Ratchet and Clank. I played like all three of the original trilogy, but I never owned it, so I can't go back and like play it like whenever I want. I played it a little bit sparingly in my childhood, but that's about it.
Okay, so you're just going off of all of these planets are just coming from memory for you.
I honestly, whenever I first started looking at the game, I'm like, there's way too many planets. I'm not gonna remember any of them. And then at some point, I was like, oh, I can now tell you what like all the planets are. So yeah. I don't remember any of these except for Kerwin. Kerwin is the only planet I actually remember.
Makes sense. It's the one that most people seem to remember.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you why, but yeah, I just do remember Kerwin. But yeah, so I never played. I didn't play it enough to really burn it into my memory. But yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think this is a good place to wrap it up.
Yeah. I'm surprised I don't remember as much of the tech that I found that I did. But yeah, I think more of my I don't think that ended up being so much of my legacy for Rack. I think it was just more of my era where I was just kind of the guy in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Not the background, but actually, I don't know any better way to put it.
That's all good. Okay. Well,
Well,
I'll
tell you what.
If I have any more questions for you, we can always do a sort of a touch-up interview, or I can ask you questions through text or whatever.
Oh yeah, feel free.
Absolutely. Okay, man. Hey, thanks for taking the time to talk to me.
Oh, thanks for putting this together. We've wanted one for a long time, or not so much wanted one, but we've been debating putting one together. So
I hear you.
I'm very glad to see that it's actually coming to fruition.
Dude, it's my pleasure. I tell you. Let me end the recording here real quick.